Hey everyone, welcome back for another episode of IK NHL Daily Talk, and we have a lot of news to, talk about here, so you are not going to want to miss out on this episode, as I'm sure Mr. Jakob can agree. And speaking of, Jakob, say what's up.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Yes, this is another YouTube exclusive. We were worried that the Spotify was going to cut out, and with how many news and stuff we have, we just did not want the Spotify to cut out on us again. So we are doing a YouTube exclusive only. We will let everybody know on Insta that we are doing a YouTube, but when after the trade deadline, we will bring back the Spotify's for all the Spotify listeners. But yeah.
Yeah, and the day after the deadline, which tomorrow will be a busy news day, and I'm sure we'll probably be posting a lot of shorts throughout the day, and I might still do one tonight, but we'll see. I haven't decided just yet, and I mean, if you guys see it, then obviously you know what I decided. If you don't see it, obviously, once again, you know what I decided. But on that note, Jakob, you ready to move into the news for the day?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
All right,
And
so, oh, sorry, go ahead.
I don't know. I guess I thought you were supposed to cue me in, so I guess I'll go first. But the first trade that we see, and as you guys can see on the screen, is that the Colorado Avalanche and the Nashville Predators made a trade today. The Colorado Avalanche acquired Nick Blackenberg, while the Nashville Predators acquired a 2027 fifth round pick. So, a good forward, and Nashville got an asset that maybe they can use to, spice up some more trades, or we will see. But I think it's a good trade by both teams. I like, I haven't noticed, Nick Blackenberg much. I haven't watched him play much, but from what I've heard, he's a pretty solid player, and he can play, he could play very good parts in a team's, championship run or something.
Yeah, well, actually, Jakob, I don't know if you know this, but not in the league that I'm in with you in fantasy, but I actually had Nick Blankenberg on my fantasy team at one point, and when I first added him, he was actually popping off. And like Evan P12 said here, absolute blockbuster trade. As you know, clearly the comment section they think this is a. I mean, I think a lot of people seem to like this for the Avs by the looks of it, and I can't disagree. But fifth round pick for the guy of his caliber is also not unreasonable value, but yeah, that's all I have to say about this. I think that's a good trade for both sides, especially the Avalanche and getting Blankenberg. But yeah, I'll move on to the next topic, which sees another trade as we have quite a few that happened today. And obviously, here we've seen the news that he was getting traded. And at that point, we didn't know the return, but now we do. And Nic Dowd got traded to the Vegas Golden Knights in exchange for Jesper Vikman, which I actually did look him up earlier, Jakob, and he's a AHL goaltender who, isn't too bad, but he has yet to record a over 900 save percentage in his professional North American career. So unlikely he makes the NHL, but we'll see, of course. And then, of course, the Capitals also get a 2027 third round pick and a 2029 second round pick. And
Yeah.
yeah, oh sorry, I stopped talking like I was done, but I'm not. But yeah, I honestly think I really like this trade for the Capitals. I think Nic Dowd is not a bad player by any means, but they got a lot in return for a guy who, at this point, if he's not or if they're not making the playoffs, they have no use for him. And this Caps team is kind of bordering the playoffs, so no, I really like the trade for the Capitals to get a bunch of assets. But the Golden Knights do get themselves a really good 3 or 4 in Nic Dowd. Jakob, take it away.
No, I was just gonna say that I watched Nick Dowd a little bit, and he's solid. He's a solid player. He's very reliable. As a bottom six forward. So yeah, I think. But at the end of the day, I still think the Capitals win this one because they just got a lot more than maybe what I would have asked if I was trying to get Nick Dowd. So yeah.
Yeah, well, I did look at his contract, by the way, and this is his, I guess, second to last year on his deal at 3 million. And the Golden Knights did not get the Capitals to retain anything, which is also part of the reason why I think I think they could have gone more, or instead of getting more, I think they could have given up less. But yeah, Nic Dowd, you are a Vegas Golden Knight. And we will move on now to, I guess, Jakob, I'll let you introduce this one, but this has to do with Colton Parayko.
So yesterday we briefly spoke about how um Colton Parayko and well, the St. Louis Blues and the Buffalo Sabres had, you know, got a trade for Colton Parayko, and they were just waiting for his approval. Well, it's looking like St. Louis fans can actually be happy for once because Colton Parayko has decided he will not be waiving his no move clause in order or no trade clause for Buffalo. There was a rumor that he wants to move out west to like Anaheim or LA, but he doesn't want to go to Buffalo. And I did get my girlfriend's reaction to this, as yesterday, when right after we got done with the episode, I asked her what she thought about Colton Parayko possibly leaving, and she was like sad. Like you could tell in her voice she was sad. And then I started asking her a few other questions about, like, where she thought Robert Thomas would go, where she thought Kyer would go, Shen would go, Folk would go, as is a Blues fan. But I got her reaction today when, Colton Parayko said that he didn't want to waive his no trade clause. And she started celebrating. She was like on top of the world. She said, "Oh, I swear if Colton Parayko left, I would have been so depressed." So, good news for the St. Louis Blues is you are keeping one of your defenders for now.
Yeah, well, actually, Jakob, you know what? I'm gonna disagree. I think that for the Blues, this is unfortunate because I think they should move on from Colton Parayko, and not that he's a bad defender by any means, but I mean, I think that he's at a point in his career where if the Blues are not a competitive team, they should be moving on. And I mean, obviously, it's good to hold on to good defensemen, but do you want to hold on to a guy that by the time you're competitive again is going to age out? I don't know. It's debate, but it's pretty fun. It's like good for him. It's in his contract for a reason. Might be a blessing in disguise for Buffalo, which I don't know about that one, but maybe. What's the reply on that? That's what I'm thinking. Like that's a lot to give up for Colton Parayko, which the proposed deal from yesterday wasn't it? It was because I remember seeing it. I think it
Yeah, right there.
was
It was right there. It was that guy.
yeah, it was Redeem Mertka and a first. I think there was more. I think there was an updated. I don't know. I seen an updated post somewhere, but it's like Redeem Mertka, a first, and something else. But yeah, Colton Parayko is gonna stay in St. Louis, and yeah, that's interesting. And too bad for Buffalo, but I guarantee you between now and the deadline that Buffalo will get a player anyways. So,
That is true. Yeah.
but yeah, Jakob, I'm gonna move on to the next topic that we have, which it's another trade, and we see Nicolas Roy or Roy, depending on how you say it. I actually don't know the proper pronunciation for that at all. So we see him go to the Avs from the Leafs, which he was the guy that they traded to get, or I guess they traded Mitch Marner, and they ended up getting him in the trade that sent Mitch Marner's signing rights to Vegas. But I guess Toronto they gets themselves a 2027 conditional first and a 2026 conditional fifth. And the conditions on those picks is that for the first round pick, if the Toronto Maple Leafs get a top 10 pick in 2027, it will be pushed to 2028, so it's top 10 protected. And the condition on that 2026 fifth round pick is that it will be the lowest of the three fifth round picks at the Colorado Avalanche, which I believe it was their own Boston and Philly. But yeah, I like this trade a lot for actually the Toronto Maple Leafs. I think that the Avalanche overpaid to get a guy who, mind you, isn't bad, but I don't know. I'm gonna be honest. It's tough to say, but yeah, I'm not like the biggest Nicholas Waugh enjoyer, but he's a good player and will be very helpful in that Colorado bottom six, or he can jump into a top six role, but he's better suited for that bottom six.
Yeah, I think I agree with Kyle. I think they paid a lot for him, especially a first conditional for him. But I mean, I guess good for the Maple Leafs to get assets for their future, as they aren't doing so good. And they might miss the playoffs this year, so I still think it's a good thing for them, to get a few draft picks while they still can. And yeah, I'm excited to see what Nicolas Roy or Roy is gonna do in Colorado.
Yeah. Actually, Jakob, before we move on, I will actually make a short about this player later. I've decided that I will make a short tonight, and that will make up for obviously the fact that you made the Mackenzie Weegar short yesterday. Well, oh wait, no, I made the Dickinson short. Whatever.
And I'm gonna make a short tonight too. I'm gonna make a short on a player we are going to talk about in future in Warren Fogle. So stay tuned for that.
Okay, well, Jakob's decided it now, so You heard it here, folks. I guess we're making some shorts tonight, and it should be good. But yeah, we were talking Friday episode, and it sounded like you were not interested, Jakob. So I'm glad you had a change of heart.
Yeah, of course, for the fans, I always have a change of heart. But we're gonna move on to this news, and there's actually two news that I'm gonna intertwine with this one. As you know, this player was placed on waivers, and he did, but now he was placed on waivers earlier, and now he got placed on waivers again. But this time it was for his contract termination. He got his contract terminated. But also, I do want to talk about there was 8 players last night or today who got placed on waivers.
What?
So I'm gonna talk about all of them today. But yeah, Matthew Joseph and the Blues have agreed on a contract termination. He is 29 years old and has 2 goals and 11 points through the 39 games with the St. Louis this season. So, I don't know what St. Louis saw, but they just didn't see a guy like that. And yeah, I think, he was a good player, but, he just didn't work out in St. Louis. He's kind of like an Andre Mangiapane. He just didn't work out in St. Louis. But obviously, before I let Kyle speak about this, I'm going to say real quick the 8 players that got placed on waivers today, with obviously Matthew Joseph's name being last, as he is last. But from Tampa Bay, Curtis Douglas got placed on
Oh,
waivers today from Tampa. The Vegas Golden Knights have placed Cole Reinhardt and Alexander Holtz. The New Jersey Devils have placed Evgeny Dadanov, Lucas Gledening, and a player they just acquired in that trade with Andre Palat, Maxim Tsiplikov.
oh, brother.
Then Garrett Wilson obviously got placed on waivers by Philadelphia. And
Hmm.
Matthew Joseph, as we can see here in the picture, he got placed on waivers, but this time it was for contract termination. So, yeah, 8 players got placed on waivers today. And yeah, judging based on Kyle's reaction, he didn't expect some of these names.
I was not expecting to hear that the Devils were gonna send down Siplikov, Glendening, and Dodonov. I'm gonna be honest, that's a surprise to me. I was not expecting to hear those three names, but yeah, no. Regarding the Matthew Joseph, termination. Sorry, this is the second player this season that the Blues have terminated, and I found it funny. It's like Dill Pickle Dill made a comment. They're making room for me, so there you go. I guess we're gonna see Dill Pickle on the ice for the St. Louis Blues here shortly. So
I
stay
think
tuned
so.
for
We'll
that.
see.
I mean, I would love to see a Dill Pickle dress up for a hockey game. That'd be pretty funny. Or like, you know what, Jakob? These guys for like Halloween or whatever should like dress up in costumes that aren't like their NHL gear.
Maybe.
They could just be like, I don't know. You could have like a marshmallow on the ice, and you could have like what else could you have? I guess you could have like a dog. You could have like I don't know someone dressed up in a maid costume. Just all sorts
Maybe.
of stuff. I don't know why I said a maid costume, but I'm just floating ideas out there. But yeah, unfortunately, I guess fortunately for Matthew Joseph, it is, his contract can be terminated. And I guess we will see because he has to sign prior to the deadline tomorrow, Jakob, to be eligible. Actually, no, he's already played a game this season. So as long as he signs with a team prior to the end of the season, he will be eligible to play in the playoffs. But I imagine we will see him sign elsewhere since he is terminating his contract in Alexander Texe Part 2.
Maybe, yeah.
But yeah, we'll move on. And like Jakob said, Garrett Wilson, one of the guys who was put on waivers today, had actually signed a NHL contract with the Flyers, and he has been in the AHL with their AHL affiliate this season, but he was signed on just a AHL deal. So this deal, allows the Flyers to be able to call him up, assuming they want to. But Garrett Wilson, who's 34, has 4 goals, 16 points through 51 games played with Lehigh Valley this season. So obviously, he's not a stud or anything, but he's a serviceable player, and that's all you can really ask.
Yeah, that's really, really all you can ask for. I don't know much about him. I actually do see the picture that these guys are putting with the football player Garrett Wilson. When I first heard of Kyle say Garrett Wilson, I actually thought he was talking about the football player for some reason. So yeah, it's like that. It's like that. That funny meme, that funny ad with Michael Jordan, bro. And the
Mm.
guy like goes to every hotel and everything. He's like Michael Jordan, and they're like expecting the GOAT Michael Jordan, and they get this random white guy. So it's kind of what it reminds me of. This it's like, oh, Garrett Wilson. Oh, it's that Garrett Wilson. Oh, it's not the one we know.
I mean, he's still at the professional level of hockey, and I'm pretty sure this guy has played some NHL games. So obviously he's doing something. And I guess we'll kind of intertwine these two trades. And actually, Jakob, I will do these two since they're not overly notable players. Well, I guess one guy is, but the other two are not. But
Yeah, be my guest. The only person I know is Jeff Petrie because he played on Edmonton, but that's it.
yeah, well, here we see obviously Jeff Petrie, who's I guess the Panthers decided not to hold on to him as they have traded him to the Minnesota Wild in exchange for a seventh round pick. And I mean, really, all this is just the Florida Panthers dumping a player who is not going to play for them. And I do know, like, they're kind of like they're 50-50 for the playoffs right now, and I guess we'll see. But I'm not liking the Panthers' odds, and we'll see. But Jeff Petrie, he's definitely at the latter end of his career, and he's more of just a veteran presence at this point rather than much of anything else. And I don't think he's too bad, but I don't know, Jakob. It's like I did actually check his stat line earlier, and he has 8 assists in 58 games, and he has no goals this season. So 8 points, 58 games, and he's averaging about 15 minutes a night for the Florida Panthers. And yeah, Jakob, I'll get your quick opinion on that on this deal.
Move on to the next trade. That's my opinion. Move on to the next trade. I have nothing to say. He was a fantastic player, but he is getting old now, and his time is coming to an end. So move next.
Well, I guess Jakob does not like Jeff Petrie anymore, but
Oh,
yeah.
next.
But yeah, for our next trade, we have a swap of two AHL defenders who, potentially could make the NHL. The Sharks acquired Jet Wu from Vancouver, and the Canucks acquired Jack Thompson, which I actually had a brief conversation with Kalen earlier, who is I have referenced on this podcast before, and he is my like a friend of mine who cheers for the Vancouver Canucks, and I mean he likes the trade. He thinks that Jack Thompson is maybe not an upgrade, but Jack Thompson is 2 years younger because he's 23 and Jet Wu is 25, and he just said like Jet Wu doesn't have a place on our NHL roster, which I can agree with. I don't think he's gonna make that Canucks roster. Where in San Jose, maybe we'll see, but Jack Thompson is 23 and he's just a younger D-man, but I'm gonna be honest, I'm not overly familiar with either player since I haven't done a lot of research into either guy because Jet Wu's been in the minors for forever, and yeah, Jack Thompson, I know he played some games for the Sharks last year, but that's as far as that goes.
Yep, that's exactly as far as it goes. Yep.
All right, Jakob, I'm gonna pull up the next topic for you, and you can talk about it. But
But the next topic is the one that I will be making. I think, yeah, the next topic is the one that I will be making a short on. And it is that Warren Fogle has been traded to the Ottawa Senators from
which
the LA Kings. And the full trade package is that it is Warren Fogle and a conditional third for a 2026 and a 2026 second and a conditional 2026 third round pick.
oh, is that all you have to say?
And I just want to say that I miss Warren Fogle being on Edmonton, and I wish he came back. But unfortunately, he decided to go to the capital of Canada in Ottawa. And obviously, I will do research, or I will talk to Kyle after this episode about what those conditions are in order for me to make a short and give you guys the fullest on my short exactly what that those conditions are. But those will be acquired later. And I like how his nickname on Instagram is FogDaddy96. Sorry, I just had to look at it. So yeah, good. I mean, I don't know. I think Warren Fogel's a good player, but his time in LA wasn't so good, and now I guess they wanted to get rid of him. And I think Ottawa's a pretty good place for him to go and possibly revive his career a little bit. We don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, well, I know this season. I actually checked his stat line again earlier, Jakob, and through the games with LA this year, he has 47 games played, and he has 7 goals and 2 assists for 9 points. Which, for a guy that's making, I can't remember if it's 3.5 mil or 4 mil, but it's one or the other. And yeah, it's not ideal, but I like the trade for Ottawa. Actually, I think that maybe a change of scenery for a guy like Warren Fogle will actually do him some benefit. And really, it's two conditional thirds, which I'm gonna be honest, I don't know what the point of the swap of thirds is in this deal, but I guess obviously the two teams understand it, it from their point of view. But for the LA Kings, obviously they trade, or sorry, the LA shoot, not the LA shoot, Jakob. The freaking Ottawa Senators trade a second round pick for basically Warren Fogle is the deal, and maybe a little bit of an overpay based off his pay off. Holy cow, man! I cannot
You
speak
got it,
English right
bro.
now. It's okay, I got it. But yeah, nah, he has maybe not played up to expectations this year and has been flipped for a reason. But yeah, yeah, I'm gonna move on now because I'm a bit embarrassed after the whole blah, 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 you
Hold
know.
on. Okay, so I'm trying to figure out what those conditions were. And
hmm
the second round pick is Buffaloes, which Ottawa previously acquired. Lots of conditions involved, but as I understand it, the Kings will most likely move up a handful of spots around three. Honestly, I don't even know. There's not really a. It doesn't really say what the conditions are.
That's okay. Well, we'll figure it out later, Jakob, and we'll see if they're notable or not. But I'll get them for you to make sure you can talk about it in your short because I know where to find
Definitely.
those. But we see
Oh, okay.
what the NHL Hall of Goods has a bunt cake.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, but I guess Michael Bunting got traded to the Dallas Stars in exchange for a third round pick, and I think this is highway robbery by the Dallas Stars and a very good deal because they traded a guy in Mason Marchment in the offseason, and you know I guess what's his face? Michael Bunting is kind of a similar esque player where, he plays a physical game, he can do a little bit of everything. And no, I really like this deal for the Dallas Stars. And I don't think a third round pick in return it was actually enough in this deal. I think that, the Predators should have gone more than just that third, but maybe that's just my opinion, but like a lot of people seem to agree. Like Kings got a second for Fogle, by the way, or Nashville just doing charity out here. And then I love you, Jim Nill, Pens legend. I guess yes, he was a Penguin at one point. And he will Dallas load up to get gentlemen swept by the Oilers in the conference finals. But yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, but I guess people do not like the trade for Nashville, and neither do I. I think a third is highway robbery.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it's highway robbery. I think they should have gotten a lot more. And I don't understand what is it with Nashville and just selling half of their team. Like all you see is Nashville don't really get a player in return. All they're getting is a bunch of draft picks.
Well, obviously they're trying to build for the future and trying to build a core up there, but I don't know. I would not be surprised if tomorrow we say either a Stamkos, Marchessault, maybe an O'Reilly trade. I think we will see one of those moves happen tomorrow. But that's just a hot take of mine, so we will see. But yeah, I
Yeah,
think I'm
Kyle's
ready
hot
to.
take of the day.
Yeah, you want
Kyle's
to?
hot take of the day.
Yeah, my hot take of the day. Well, anywho, Jakob. But yeah, no, great trade by obviously the. Oh my God, the freaking Dallas Stars. There we go. But yeah, just a couple quick points because I don't really need to go too far in those. But the Rangers have scratched Vincent Trocheck and Sam Carrick for roster management purposes, which likely implies that the two guys are either getting traded or could be getting traded. And apparently, AJ Greer is also sitting for Florida, presumably for the same purpose. So we will see, obviously, what that entails. And then going over to the Winnipeg Jets, they are healthy scratching Luke Shen and Logan Stanley for the same reason. So likely all of those players will probably be traded. And yeah, that's all I have to say about that. And Jakob, I will let you speak about our final topic prior to getting into the games for today.
Look, the final topic that I want to talk about is that the Ducks have signed for Ryan Poling to a 4-year deal worth 3.75 million AAV. He's 27 years of age this year and has 7 goals and 24 points through 54 games played with Anaheim this season. I guess, Anaheim is doing good and they want to keep all their players. So, and I guess according to some people, he's been doing good for the Ducks. So it's good to see that they're, keeping the guy that is doing good for them and not letting him go.
Yeah, no, that's fair. And Jakob, I don't know if you remember, but this comment here actually that says, shoot, I lost it. Where'd it go? NHL debut hat trick legend. in his NHL debut, where he was with the Habs at the time, he scored a hat trick and the shootout winner in that game, and was literally made a legend overnight. That was, and then people were expecting a lot out of this guy, but he never panned up to those expectations. But he is still a very good, bottom six, kind of a defensive center, but he can obviously provide some offense, as we have seen. But yeah, that's enough for the news. I'm ready to get into some NHL scores for the day.
That's what I'm saying. I'm ready to get through these NHL scores because oh la la, we're just be prepared that there's gonna be a crap ton of news tomorrow. Probably Saturday. Saturday will probably be a bunch of news.
Well, we'll see. It depends on what time we do the episode tomorrow, yeah, because if we don't do it in the morning, we're going to have to talk about every single trade.
Which is exactly what we're gonna do.
Uh-huh. Because
So
I know you'll be at
we,
work,
but
so.
well, we will move on to the first game of the day, which sees the Vegas Golden Knights beat the Detroit Red Wings. I know I'm going first. Don't fear. But
Okay.
the shot total was 26-25 in favor of the Detroit Red Wings, and Marner has 3 points, and they trailed by two in the third period, so they had to come back in with three straight goals, and they defeated the Red Wings in overtime. But we'll go over at the goal scorers real quick if Kyle can scroll down. We see Riley Smith open the scoring a minute 50 into the first period. And then we go where Emmett Finney ties the game. Then Simon Edvinson scores to make it 2-1 for Detroit. And Alex DeBrincat makes it 3-1 on assist from Lucas Raymond and Sandin Pelika. And then we go into the third period where this is where the Vegas Golden Knights mount a comeback and win the game. But Ivan Barbashev makes it 3-2. I swear, I always say Ivan Barbashev. Every time we do a Vegas recap, we always say Ivan Barbashev's name.
Mm-hmm.
But then Mitch Marner ties the game with just 3 minutes left, and then in overtime, 2 minutes in on the power play. So a 4-on-3 for the Vegas Golden Knights, and we see Tomas Hertl on assist from Mitch Marner and Rasmus Anderson bury the winner and win the game for the Vegas Golden Knights. The three stars of the game, Tomas Hertl was the first star with his goal and an assist. Mitch Marner was the second star with a goal and two assists for 3 points. And then Alex DeBrincat, who had 2 points, had himself the third star. The goalies for yesterday, which we shall wait for Kyle, was Adin Hill, who allowed 3 on 26 and had himself an 885 save percentage. And he did play the whole game. And for the Red Wings, on the other hand, it was Cam Talbot, who allowed 4 on 25 and had himself an 840. And this was the last game between these two. The first time they played, Vegas won 1-0. And now Vegas goes to Detroit and wins it to win the season series between these two 2-0. So there you have it, folks. Vegas wins this one 4-3 in overtime.
Yeah.
Uh, I
Jacob,
have to
you
do
want
I have to
here? Jacob, I got the camera pan on you. Say the overtime again.
Vegas wins this one 4-3 in overtime. I have to do my best Jack Michaels impression. So there you have it, folks.
That was beautiful. Thank you for that, Jacob. We
You're
greatly
welcome. I hope
appreciate
I
you
hope
on
it
the
lifted.
show.
I hope it lifted someone's mood today.
It lifted my spirits, Jacob. I feel like
Good.
I'm going to ascend beyond the human realm now because of you. I
This is
appreciate
why
it.
this guy. This is why we just. Oh, this guy. Oh, he can't say overtime. He has to say shootout. Oh,
I know. And they score in the shootout, I guess is what I'll say. I don't know.
in the shootout. I don't know.
Anyways, we see the Devils beat the Toronto Maple Leafs 4-1 in the shootout. There we go. Yeah, I did my best impression, Yaka. But man, for the Leafs, they got outshot 47-27, which means we saw 74 shots in this game, which is honestly insane. But Connor Brown ties it late for the Devils, and they rally in the shootout for a win against the Maple Leafs. And the forward, Connor Brown, scores with 2 minutes 21 seconds left in the third for New Jersey, and Stolars makes 44 saves for Toronto, which is 0-3-2 in their past five. And clear,
Jesus Christ.
clearly, with the fact that they traded Nicolas Roy earlier, they are very clearly selling, and they had a couple guys scratch today, which I will verify that when we're going over the game score. But Matias Maccelli scores to open the scoring for the Toronto Maple Leafs, and in the game, just 5 minutes into the first, and that would be assisted by Dakota Joshua and Simon Benoit. Then, of course, not too long after, literally 2.5 minutes later, Timo Meyer scores on a snapshot to put the Devils back in this game at 1 apiece, and then that was assisted by Heischer and Dawson Mercer. But moving into the second period, William Nylander scores on the power play, and he would deflect that shot in from Easton Cowan, and Austin Matthews would have the second assist. And then, just basically 2.5 minutes later, again, yeah, 2.5 minutes later, again, the Devils respond, and that would be Arseny Grichuk, which I've said that name a lot recently, so obviously he's doing something right. But that would be assisted by Jesper Bratt and Nico Hischier again. And then moving into the third period, because I guess 2 goals have to happen in every period, and the Leafs would take the lead for the third time in this game on a batted shot from Matthew Knies, and that would come with 6 minutes and 10 seconds left on the clock. But of course, like we saw in the caption, Connor Brown, my goat. I love this man. I love him.
Yeah.
I love him. Scores, and that would come with 2:21 left on the clock in the third period on a wrist shot, and that'd be assisted by Arseny Grichuk and Luke Hughes, who has been activated off of IR. And then in the shootout, of course, Paul Cotter scores yourself the shootout winner.
Love it. Absolutely love it.
Yeah, and by the way, Paul Cotter actually didn't score the only goal because Jesper Bratt also scored in the shootout, but unfortunately Nylander and Matthews both missed. But
Bro, what is it with Matthews missing penalty shootouts nowadays? Oh my god.
I don't know, Jakob, but hey, it is what it is, I guess, and we will see. But yeah, Jesper Bratt with his single assist in obviously his shootout goal as your first star of the game, and then your second star with Anthony Stolars, which I'm gonna be honest, he definitely deserves it considering he had to face 44 shots in this one. Wait, no, he faced all 47, including a couple of shootout shots. So yeah, he definitely earned that second star. And Timo Meyer with his goal in the first period to tie the game at 1 is your third star. And moving on to the goaltending performances, if I can get there. Which, by the way, I think OEL and what's his face? OEL and there was someone else on the Leafs that they scratched the other day. Do you remember?
McMahon, I think, or Scott Lawton.
I think it's McMahon and Lawton, but yeah, actually, Roy or Nicholas Waugh did play last night for the Leafs, but he was the first one shipped out. But you're right, none of them did play. But yeah, for that netminder, I already went over Stolarz. I'm not doing that again. But yeah, we see the New Jersey Devils. Jacob Markstrom allowed 3 goals on 27 shots, and he would have an 889 save percentage. And with this win for the Devils, they win the season series 4-3 as they won the first matchup 5-2. The matchup on December 30th, 4-0 was in favor of actually the Leafs, not the Devils, sorry. And then the Devils, obviously, yesterday win 4-3.
By the way, the season series was actually 2-1, not 4-3. According to Kyle, apparently the season series is 4-3.
Is that what I
No.
actually said, bro?
Yes, bro. You literally said the season series is the New Jersey Devils won this one 4-3, even though it was
Oh,
2-1.
I was
But
referring to the score on the day, I guess, when I was thinking of the season series. So it is what it is.
but
But yeah, you can move on, Jakob.
I'll move on to the next game. We saw a lot of goals from the Hurricanes and the Canucks, and
Mm-hmm.
the Hurricanes win this one 6-4 on a Nicolas Ehlers hat trick, and the Carolina are 11-1-2 in their past 14 games. While
Wow.
Hronick has 3 points for Vancouver, but the shot total was 33-22 in favor of the Carolina Hurricanes. And yeah, we'll go over the goal scorers real quick, which Andrei Svechnikov opens the scoring on a power play to make it 1-0 for Carolina. Then Marco Rossi ties the game on the power play. Marco Rossi is the player that came in that trade with Quinn Hughes to tie the game 1-1. Then Philip Hronik makes it 2-1 just 30 seconds after that on a beautiful slap shot. Then we go into the second period where Mr. Snoozer over here, I think, is
Oh,
snoozing a little bit.
I
There we go.
was.
Sean, this is where the Hurricanes kind of build up a lead, and Sean Walker makes the game 2-2. Then Nicolas Ehlers makes it 3-2 and gives the lead back to the Hurricanes. And then Sebastian Aho scores to make it 4-2. And Nicolas Ehlers scores to make it 5-2. And this one would actually be your game winner. Brock Besser does not go away, and right before the period ends, makes it 5-3 on the power play. And Niels Hoglander makes it 5-4. And just when we thought, the Canucks pulled their goalie, and no, Nicolas Ehlers on the power play with the empty net scores an empty net goal. I guess the Canucks tried to make it 5-on-5, but unfortunately it did not work for them, and they would lose this one 6-4. But Nicolas Ehlers, obviously with his hat-trick performance, was the first star of the game for 3 points. Philip Hronik was the second star with also 3 points, but he had a goal and 2 assists. And Seth Jarvis apparently was the third star with 2 assists in this one. And the season series is actually 2-0 for the Hurricanes. The Hurricanes win this one 2-0 after they won the first one in Carolina in overtime. But then they come to Vancouver and they win it in regulation. But I was just trying to show his beautiful face over there. But obviously, we go over to the goalie performances, which I don't think both goalies had a good game. I think both of them had a rough one. But Brandon Bussey was the winning goalie last night. He allowed 4 on 22, had himself an 818 save percentage, and played all 60 minutes. And for the Vancouver Canucks, on the other hand, I believe it was both goalies actually, as Kevin Lankinen comes in and allows 4 on 22 and has a 818. And Nikita Tolopilo comes in and allows 1 on 10 and has himself a .900. So yeah, I guess Canucks, they pulled their goalie, and yeah, that is the final score. The Canucks lose this one 6-4.
Yeah, no, good win by the Canucks or the Carolina Hurricanes, obviously, as they won this one 6-4. Jakob, stop looking around your room like you're looking at a freaking you're like bro's like a fly staring right into the light or something, trying to follow it and whatnot. But yeah, nah, no, good win by the Hurricanes, and I mean, are we really surprised that the Hurricanes beat the Canucks? I can tell you,
Hell.
I am not surprised at all. But yes, I'll move on to my last game that I'm going to recap on the day, which sees the Anaheim Ducks beat the New York Islanders 5-1 despite being outshot 43-26, which we see 69 shots in the game. Haha, nice.
Oh, oh, imagine. I wish it was just 2 under, just for the famous meme, but I'm not gonna say it because I'm not a little child anymore.
I'm
I'm
not
trying to
even.
fix my chair because I accidentally pulled my chair, a strap in my chair. So I'm trying to fix it real quick while you're going over this
Okay,
game
well,
recap.
you can fix that while I recap it. So we see Cutter Gauthier scores twice, and Husso makes 42 saves in Ducks' victory against Islanders, which
Ow.
obviously he had an excellent game for them. But Beckett, Seneca, and Kreider each have 2 points for Anaheim, and the
I actually
Islanders
picked him
instead.
up. I picked him up, by the way, in fantasy. I picked up Beckett Seneca in fantasy because I saw he was doing so good.
Well, there you have it, folks. Jakob loves Beckett, Seneca.
Apparently, I do.
But yeah, the Islanders obviously have a win streak or had a win streak, and it ended at 5. But moving on to your goal scores, Anders Lee opens the scoring just 5 minutes into the first on the power play, assisted by Tony DeAngelo and Jonathan Drouin. But the Ducks, with a power play of their own, sees Cutter Gauthier score his 30th of the year, and that would
Oh,
come on a snapshot. But even in this period, Cutter Gauthier was not done. He scores his second in a span of just over 3 minutes, and that would be his 31st. And by the way, this actually would stand as the game winner in this one, and that would be assisted by Lucas Carlson and Chris Kreider, which this was his second assist on a Cutter Gauthier goal. But then we see, of course, Beckett Seneca had to add one before the end of the period, so he scores his 20th, assisted by McTavish and Moore. And then we don't see a goal in the second period, but going into the third, Ryan Paling, the man of the myth, the legend, the man of the hour, who signed himself a new deal today, scored his 7th of the year on the back end just 2 minutes into the third period, and that would be assisted by Ryan Strome, who has not had a great year, to be honest. But with the empty net, which the Islanders pulled their goalie pretty early, which that is very classic Patrick Waugh fashion right there. But
oh.
yeah, Frank Vetrano with his 4th of the season scores on the empty net, and that would be assisted by Jacob Trouba. And your final in this game would be 5-1. And actually, with this win, the Ducks actually tie the season series at 1, and that's where it will stand. We do not have a winner in this one because the Islanders won the first match at 5-2, and the Ducks win the second one 5-1. But moving on to your 3 stars of the night, Ville Husso, of course, with his 42 save performance, and he had a 977 save percentage, is your first star. Cutter Gauthier with his 2 goals is your second star, and Jacob Trouba with his assist on the empty netter is your third star of the night. And moving on to your goaltending performances, we see David Riddick, who, ay ay ay, yeah, he could have done better. I'm gonna be honest with you, but
For
he
sure, no, for sure.
he allowed 4 on 25 and had himself an 840, and we already seen Husso's numbers. But I will scroll through the Ducks scores real quick just in case any of you are interested and want to take a look. And yeah, there you have it, folks. 5-1 in favor of the Ducks.
And the last game that I'm recapping is the Blues and Kraken game. Apparently, it's actually kind of funny because this is my girlfriend's favorite team that I'm recapping. So unfortunately, she's not here, so she can do it. But yeah, so Robert Thomas gets 2 points. The guy who's on a lot of trade talks gets 2 points, and then Shen gets assists for St. Louis as they win this one 3-2, despite being outshot 36-27. So Holford made 34 saves, as the caption says. And we'll go over the goal scorers real quick. But Jaden Schwartz, excuse me, with his 10th of the season, makes it 1-0 with 31 seconds into the period. Then Logan Mayu, with his third of the season, makes it 1-1 on an assist by both Shen and Robert Thomas. Well, yes, both of them are in trade talks with a lot of teams on a wraparound shot. Then Dylan Holloway, former Edmonton player, makes it 2-1 for St. Louis on a tip-in. Assist by Cam Fowler and yet again Braden Shen. And then we go into the third period where Robert Thomas on another assist from Braden Shen. Braden Shen assisted all 3 goals. Oh, wow. And Philip Broberg, former Edmonton defenseman, would make it 3-1. And that would stand as the game winner as Vince Dunn tries to muster one back, but unfortunately it was too late. And Jordan Eberle did get a point for his 20th of the assist of the season, which we will talk about that. And St. Louis actually won the series between these two 2-1 after winning the first game in St. Louis 4-3, then losing the game in Seattle wins the first game in St. Louis 4-3. Excuse me, guys, in overtime, and then St. Louis would stay in St. Louis and win it 5-1, and then they would go to Seattle for one final game where St. Louis would win it. And the 3 stars of the game, Brendan Shen was the first star with 3 assists. Joel Hofer, who, he saved 34 out of 36 and had himself a 944, was the second star. And then Vince Dunn, who had a goal and an assist on on all the goals. He was a contributor to every goal. The same like Shen, had 2 points and was the third star. And the goalie performances, obviously, I'm not going to go talk about Joel Hofer. You guys can look for that yourself, but there's the stats for anybody for the Blues. But for the Seattle Kraken, on the other hand, it was Philip Grubauer who allowed 3 on 27 and had himself an 889 save percentage. And with that, the St. Louis Blues win this one 3-2.
Yeah, I love myself some Joey Philip Grubauer because Jakob was about to say Joey Decord because he thought that's who played, but
I thought so too. So a lot of Joey Philip Grubauer guys.
yeah, we love Joey Philip Grubauer out here. But on that note, Jakob, are you ready to preview the schedule for tomorrow?
You mean the schedule for today?
The schedule for today. Sorry, I am.
Not tomorrow. But yeah,
Okay.
let's go ahead and go over the schedule for today. So obviously some games have already started. We have, I believe, one game that has started, but it's early in the period, and then one game that has not started yet, but starts in 14 minutes that we can make picks up
Mm-hmm.
to date on. But yeah, go ahead and introduce the games, not
All
the
right.
first
Well,
games.
well, the first game that we have today, yes, Jakob, this is the first game. We have the Toronto Maple Leafs visiting the New York Rangers, and that game will be at 5 o'clock Mountain Time. Well, was at 5 o'clock Mountain Time and 7 p.m. Eastern Time.
That is Joseph Wall against Igor Shesterkin.
This game also at 5 o'clock Mountain Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Time sees Buffalo visit Pittsburgh.
That was Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen against Arthur Shilovs.
Once again, 5 o'clock, which I will not be saying it again, but that's 5 o'clock Mountain Time, 7 p.m. What? 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and then that has the Florida Panthers visiting the Columbus Blue Jackets.
And that is going to be Daniil Tarasov against Jet Greaves.
All right, then we have the Utah Mammoth visiting the Philadelphia Flyers.
And that is Vitek Vanacek against Dan Vladar.
All right, and then our first matchup at 6 p.m. Mountain Time and 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and that is one of two, so I will not be saying it for the next game as it is at that same time frame. But we have the Tampa Bay Lightning visiting the Winnipeg Jets.
And that is Connor Hellebuck for Winnipeg against Andre Vasilevsky for Tampa.
All right. Then we have the Boston Bruins visiting the Nashville Predators, and that should be a good one.
And that is Jonas Korpisalo for Boston against UC Saros for Nashville.
Obviously, Nashville's missing a few guys now after some of their trades that they've made over the last couple of
That is,
days.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
But yes, in our only matchup at 7 o'clock p.m. Mountain Time and 9 p.m. Eastern Time, we see the Ottawa Senators visiting the Calgary Flames.
And right before I say this one, Kyle, go ahead and give it a quick refresh to see if the goalie for LA has been confirmed or not.
It
He
has.
has been. And it is actually going. It's not going to be Anton Forsberg like they said. It's going to be Darcy Kemper. So, but it's going to be Linus Ullmark against Calgary's Devin Cooley.
All right, and our last matchup, which is the one that will start in 12 minutes from the time I'm saying this right now, that will be at 7:30 p.m. Mountain Time, and that'll be 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and that sees the New York Islanders visit the LA Kings.
And that is going to be Ilya Sorokin against, of course, like we mentioned, Darcy Kemper. So there you have it, folks. Kyle will scroll real quick so you guys can see all the goalies just one more
Oh
last
shoot.
time.
Oh, okay. I got you. I got you. Yeah, but we'll scroll up and then I'll scroll down real quick.
And there you have it. So now, obviously, Kyle can go ahead and end the stream, but we have uh the picks of the day from yesterday, the recap. I went 2 for 2. As I said, the Hurricanes were gonna beat the Canucks, which they did, and a Cutter Gauthier goal. And I also
Mm-hmm.
said that the Islanders, Kyle said that the Islanders were gonna beat the Ducks, which unfortunately they did not, and a Jordan Eberle point, which he did. So with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and actually Kyle's gonna go ahead and go first because I went first yesterday.
Oh boy, Yakob's putting me on the spot here. I see. I see you, bro. But I'm gonna take the Calgary Flames to beat the Ottawa Senators, actually, which I think that might be the first time on the show that one of us is taking the Flames at all. I don't know for sure. If one of you has been watching for long enough and has the actual answer to that, let us know. I'd be very interested to see what the answer actually is to that. And for my player pick, I am going to take. I'm going to take a Bo Horvat goal.
Okay, and I'm actually going to hopefully pray for Kyle's revenge as I'm going to take the Islanders to beat the Kings as they complete their I guess their California road trip, and I'm going to take a Nazem Kadri point.
Okay, I see you, bro.
Oh,
We
just to recap, Kyle went with Calgary and a Bo Horvat point or goal, whatever. Yeah, goal. And
goal,
I
yeah.
went with Nazem Kadri point and a Islanders win over the Kings. So with that being said, the question of the day, which I
Oh
don't
man.
have one in mind,
Oh,
but if Kyle has one, he can go ahead and shout it.
okay. I don't have one, but I'll come up with one real quick. Hmm. All right. You know what? I have a good one, Jakob. Which I mean, we already asked a question somewhat similar, I think, a few days ago. But since tomorrow is deadline day, based off of the players that have not yet been moved, who are you most excited to see get moved, and where do you think they're going to go? So let us know down below in the comment sections. We would love to hear, what you guys have to say. And yeah, if you guys ever actually do watch to the end of these videos, because I'm gonna be honest, I don't know if anyone actually does or not, aside from us.
Yeah,
But
it's true.
if you guys actually do ever stick around for this, then be sure to leave a comment and say that you were here.
Okay, you know what? The code word for today is going to be Oilers. So if you watch to the end of the video, comment Oilers so we know that you. Yeah, there will be another code word for later, but today, if you guys watch to the end, type the word Oilers so we know you guys watched it. We will give you a shout out on the next video.
I thought you were gonna
Kyle,
say something dumb like pickles or something, but the bro's like, if you're here, you can say Oilers, as if he's
no.
not biased as
Okay, no, I'm changing it. I'm
fudgesicle.
changing it. I'm changing it. I'm changing it. I'm changing it. If you stay till the end, I want you to comment the word dogs.
There you have it, folks. We love dogs.
Oh, if you guys stay till the end and you watched us, comment the word dog and we will shout you out, dogs, and we will shout you out in tomorrow's episode. But other than that, I have nothing to say. Kyle, if you have anything to say, let's go ahead and wrap it up.
Yeah, well, I did the intro, Jakob, so You wrap it up, boy.
Oh God. Okay, so thank you everyone who listened and watched our YouTube video today. Be sure to follow us on all our social media platforms, Spotify included, and we will be posting more episodes to Spotify after trade deadline. As you know, we don't want it to cut out. But thank you to everyone, and I hope everyone has a great week, a great weekend. Excuse me, not a great week. Well, great rest of your week and a great weekend. And we will see you guys all tomorrow with another episode. Peace out, everybody. I hope everyone has a good night.
Peace out, y'all.